Alright, let's look at where we left off last. I know that makes a lot of sense. Where we left off, we had our basic items queried from a SharePoint list that we use jQuery then to go down to SOAP. Let's go down to SOAP. Use SOAP, go down the DOM to pull the items from. Having a hard time speaking today. It's okay. Let's go where we started from again. We basically took field title, field name title. We changed the zero, the zero to no name 0, and we're going to use that to append to a list. For right now, we're calling task list. Tasks, and it's going to append to the UL. So that's where we left off at last time. Now let's start making some changes so we can get more information, because obviously we want more than just the title. We want other information in here. We want an image. We want the description. So let's start doing some of those. Let's put in some basics first. So as you can see, again, field reference, name, description. Field reference, name, image. If you had additional information, you can put that in there as well. Just add another field reference name and add the correct name that you're looking for. So let's look at what this pulls. We'll load it up to our We're going to load it up to our jQuery here, our library I have. And again, I already have the title in there from before. One thing I'm doing is making a new copy, and then we're going to refresh it as we walk through the process here. So. Once that's done, again, inspect the element. Go to console log, you see the document DOM. Navigate down to our list. Again, remember list item response. And here we start going with our items. Now, as you can see, here's the item 1. That was the first set of information we have. Now see the OWS description. Here's the external class. And here's the base information that comes through as far as the style. And as you can see, now it's pulling information from the list. Here's the paragraph that it pulled from that list. And it at least gives you base information. You start pulling from the list. And if you start looking through here, we're going to notice something. I'm still not seeing the image information in here. Now, obviously, I've worked this out. I'm going through and showing you the thought process that I used when things were not working. And then it allowed me then to go through after and say, okay, well, this didn't work. Let's try this. That didn't work. Try this. Because this will give you a hard time when you're first walking through it. And rather than just me telling you what to do, I figure you might want to think about the thought process yourself. That way, when you start making your own experiments, you'll kind of have some idea about where to go as far as some of these other parts. And going through your own thought process on how to pull items. So we're gonna go through the process, and we'll start yanking down things. So let's close up that and get back to our using Dreamweaver. And these are actually mistakes that I made, and now I'm going back and looking at these and trying to fix them. And where I made the error, and again, this is where I'm talking about being careful with your naming conventions. If you notice, I have capital T, capital D, small I for images. That's a mistake on my part. You usually want to have it some set way. That way you don't have to remember how you named them as far as your naming convention. So I did images. Actually, I think I did image on the other one, not images. And I did with a capital I instead of small I. So I have a choice: either change this list item so that it matches, in which that would be the correct way to do it. But just for this sake, I'm going to show you instead. I'm going to change I, lowercase I, S, Save it out. Go to my place where I have these stored. And again, remember, these are simple text files that I have in here, and the web part is already querying it. So I just left the same name in. That way, as I make changes, I can do my testing and processing. Sandbox, reload it. Okay, so now let's look. Inspect elements. Console log. Down the DOM. Now this time when I go to my feed, you see I got my title, got my description. I have, again, here's the paragraphs that I put in. Here's the base font information, all those things that were put in there. Again, we could change any of those in CSS after the fact, but for right now I'm just going to use the default. And this time, as you can see, now I have OWS images, and here's the image, my JPEG. Good, so now I have something I can work with. So now at least I know I can pull in the information. Now it's a matter of going through, putting information so that I have something usable and I have something that I want. And so what that's actually going to require is not only some changes as far as what I'm querying now, it's going to require a little jQuery and a little CSS just to kind of get the base format to look the way I want. So let's look at some of that now. All right, so as you can see right now, we have this pulling the LI and we're pulling in the title. Again, that's 100% fine. But I want it to be a little bit more than this, to look a little bit better. So I'm going to do things like use my jQuery to make this one that title now in H2, so that I can make it look a little bit bigger, a little bit better, control it through the CSS. And this might actually be a good time to talk about the Easy Slider. We're going to go to the Easy Slider site, yank it down, and once we do, we'll have that JavaScript, and we'll take their base CSS and then modify for our needs. We type in Easy Slider. Literally, the first one that comes up is this Easy Slider 17 numeric. Scroll past the information down here. You'll see it midway down. Download Easy Slider. Download the information, uploaded it to our SharePoint library, and then I took out the CSS just so I could do a little bit of customization to it. Luckily, not much is required. It comes with the screen one. I did screen_custom just so that, again, to try to keep the other one pretty clean. Now what I basically did is I took out all the body information here so that it doesn't reset, the whole body of the SharePoint page, because obviously that would be useless to us. Then I added some additional information in here for find the UL with the ID of task, and take that image and float it a little bit. Again, saving in the custom and make sure it was attached in, as long with the Easy Slider, and then the little bit of script they give you in order to enact the slider. Hashtag, here's the ID. Auto start. I wrapped it inside a div here called slider also. And again, you don't have to name it slider. You could do it as something else. Do it as a class for slider, whatever. Doesn't make a difference. And here's the slides. Now, once we do that, wait a minute, hold on. Here's the other thing I want to show you right quick. Here is the images. So I'm saying, image source, and then find the images, and that's the image I want there. Now, this is actually going to produce an error, but I want to show you what the error is so you know what to look for. Sandbox. And so you see it's not coming in, but it did put our numbers down here, which is what we need. Now let's look at the DOM and see if we can find out where the error is. And Chrome does give you a hint a little bit right here. If you notice, when we go into the console, can't find it. What do you mean you can't find it? I know it's in the list, I know that it was in there initially. I saw the listing. Now I just got to find out what happened. So go down the DOM and look. Here's the OWS images. Here's the link to the file. Here's the name of the file, .jpg. You think that would have worked, right? Here's how you can tell it doesn't work. See how this is in quotes here? See the end quote mark here? For some reason, when it went down the list, it dropped in that little comma there. And so it's trying to read the comma as part of the file name, and obviously it's not. So we have to do a simple find and replace here, and then our SharePoint, our query will list for us. So place, and make sure you do singular quotes in here. Comma, because it's going to find the comma, and you have to use a comma to separate the values, because it's going to say, what do you want to do to replace? I want you to find the first thing and replace it with the second thing. So this looks odd because you have a comma in between these two, but it's literally find the comma. What am I replacing it with? This is saying to replace it with what item? In this case, not even a blank. I want nothingness there. Once we do this now, and we put it in, we'll find that choose our file, slider text, reload it in, back to our sandbox, reload it, and now here's our image. So now we have both our image and our title. Pretty simple, right? Relatively. And you can literally go through and put any of these things in here. We can continue going through the same way we just did and get our description information. We can go through and put our link information. If we had some other information we wanted in there, we can simply do it here. And as you can see, these are fully functional pretty simply. We'll jump all the way back. If I click one, we'll click in between these. And again, it really wasn't that difficult. A little bit of jQuery, a little bit of CSS changing, and we have at least the basic start. So take this, play around with it, and see what you get from it. It's very, very handy and pretty simple to do. All right, if you have any questions, drop me a line. I'll see what I can do to help. Have a good night. Oh, thanks for watching Let's Talk About Tech.